China, the number one most populated country in the world with a staggering 1.36 billion and growing rapidly. To put that into perspective, let's take every person in China and represent them as 12 fluid ounce cans of soda. It would take 7,040,000 soda cans to occupy one Olympic-sized swimming pool, and 193.2 pools to hold all 1.36 billion cans. This massive population creates an uncanny amount of problems that are nearly impossible to address, including things like smog, severe poverty, and overcrowding. These major issues lead to climate change and scarce resources.
The population is growing all around China, especially in the heavily populated cities of Hong Kong and Mongolia. Hong Kong's population is 7 million, while Mongolia is 24 million. Holy moly, Batman. The sex ratio is 51.29% male and 48.73% female. This distribution could be due to the preferences of males in Chinese culture. The age gap is fairly large due to the boom, with the age range of 0 to 14 making up 16.60% of the total population, while from 15 to 64 only makes up 72% of the population. With these figures in mind, we're able to determine that China is in this fourth stage of the demographic transition model, along with the United States, Canada, Australia, Argentina, and many more.
The wealth gap in China is very large and ever growing. The wealth distribution, otherwise known as GMP, is at a whopping 12.44 trillion US dollars. The birth rate in China is 11.90 per 1,000, and the death rate is 7.17 per 1,000. The infant mortality rate is 15.2 per 1,000. The education system in China is very beneficial to the public and government. The government mandates that all citizens attend school for at least 9 years. 99.7% of China's population has attended school for 9 years. This can be very troublesome for families that are stuck working long hours to feed themselves. Sweatshops are a growing problem and are bad for the population's well-being.
The first thing that affects China's environment is their one-child policy, which limits each family to one child and are taxed higher if they have more children. This can be very beneficial to the environment because it limits the number of people using their already scarce resources. This way, the population is growing much slower than it would be without the one-child policy.
The second thing that affects the environment is China's smog problem. Smog is produced from an abundance of stacks scattered across China's factories. This, in turn, creates a thick cloud-like substance that is very toxic. Very recently, northeastern Heilongjiang province reported that the toxicity of the smog was so high that people were encouraged to stay inside and avoid all outdoor activities unless it was an emergency. This problem has become so big that people have taken up wearing gas masks to and from work or school to avoid the deadly chemicals located in the smog. According to Reuters, the World Health Organization reports that any level above 20 isn't recommended, while northeastern Heilongjiang province is recorded at a high of over 1,000.
Water shortages in China can be very deadly in some cases. The massive population consumes and uses water every day, and it has become very scarce due to the extreme demand from the public. This has hurt China economically because the shortages of water, the prices of many crops such as corn and rice have skyrocketed. This problem is very difficult to overcome for many families that are in or near poverty and can't afford the increasing prices, meaning that they have to starve or even worse, die.
The future is up for a great deal of discussion. Things like smog, climate change, population fluctuation, water scarcity, and wage gaps are all adding to a very grim future for China. These economic and environmental issues are impacting not only China, but the entire world with some rising food prices and global warming. These environmental issues need to be addressed and solved before the world decays into a barren wasteland of pollution and a lack of any populations.